About 1969, Bessel van den Hazel began preparing this building for use as an outdoor center. He got permission from the Ministry of Natural Resources to use a 160-acre woodlot, which is adjacent to the property. And he was given a year to develop programs and put the building in order to be an outdoor school. And it began in the fall of 1970 to function as an outdoor education facility. He was here for 5 years, and when he moved along, I took the position as outdoor consultant. And I've been here since 1975. As far as programs are concerned, the original thrust was to try to get all of the grade sixes in the system to visit the facility. They were subsidized, their busing was subsidized if they had to travel further than from Woodstock. And after that, other classes could come. As class size and the student population actually dropped, less students in the schools, then more time became available for other classes. And at the present time, the facility is used, I think junior level students would be the ones who come the most. That's grade 4, 5, 6, followed by primary students, followed by senior elementary, grade 7 and 8. And there is a use of about 10% of the field center time with secondary school students. The programs usually revolve around two things. One, what is available in the woods, in the adjacent property to study, and the season of the year. For example, there's no stream that runs of any size that runs consistently, so I don't do stream studies. There is a pond. There are lots of different sorts of habitat in the woods, everything from open meadow to mature hardwood forest. And so all of the flora and fauna in these locations can be studied. The season of the year dictates certain things are available in some seasons. For example, in the fall we do fungus and mushroom studies because there's lots of them around. In the spring we study wildflowers, spring flowers, because they're present in great numbers. In the winter we snowshoe. Some things can be done all year. For example, pond water can be studied in both the spring and the fall, and in the winter if you want to break through the ice, I suppose. Birds can be studied in the winter and the spring, and to some extent in the fall as well. So there's a bit of overlap in the programs, but usually they're seasonal, and they are what is provided by the woods. If there is a request for a specific program, if I can find the time to develop it, I will. But generally, the people who come are willing to accept the programs that fit the grade and the season, and they'll book for the season that they want to take them in. I try when I can to dovetail them into what's being studied in the classroom, and that's pretty successful, but not always.
How many classes per year, basically?
Well, how about I tell you there's about 4,000 students per year, and if the average class size in the system is 25, a little bit of mathematics will give it to you. I'm booked with a class about 3.5 days per school year over the whole year. Now that doesn't mean that's consistent through the year. In the good seasons, what I call prime time, that's any time from the 15th of September to the 1st of November, from the 5th of January through till the end of February, and from about the 15th of April through till the mosquitoes come out on the 24th of May. That's prime time, and I might be booked every day, Monday to Friday, during those periods. On the other hand, at the end of February and the 1st of March, I usually have some free time because the snow is gone and it's nothing but mud and cold and miserable sleety weather as a rule, and there is not much going. You can't do the winter activities that are normal, such as snowshoeing. So the place isn't booked too heavily. Similarly, it's not booked at the first of the year, and it's not booked just before Christmas because the activities in the schools usually keep kids away. Now, I put special activities in for certain times to fit in for times when nothing else works. For example, in late March, early April, I do maple syrup. In November, when nothing else seems to be active, there's usually a lot of deer in the woods because it's the mating season, and I conduct a deer activity, which has become very popular. And this year, to fill in the March gap, the end of February, March gap, I've started a thing on bird boxes, specifically wood duck and bluebird boxes, which must be put up at that time of year in order to catch the birds in their migration. So you can adjust your program to fill for that. But I'm called into schools. I have to do historical interpretation, and I have a certain amount of administrative work and meetings with the curriculum department that I have to attend. So it sorts out to about 3.5 days a year.
So the only help you get is kids coming up?
You mean assistance with my work? Yes, I have student leaders that I train in the fall that I can call upon, and I do fairly regularly. I sometimes get co-op students. Just about every year I get a co-op student at some time. This year was an exception because the boy who was to come couldn't get a ride out. His ride collapsed at the last minute. But usually I have a co-op student with me, and of course the teacher comes, and when the class from the school comes, they often bring parent helpers who can be of assistance. But essentially it's myself and the grade 8 student leaders. I have high school leaders I can call upon occasionally too, that were student leaders in grade 8.
What's done during the summer here? Anything?
There's nothing goes on in the summer, just mostly because I operate the facility and I'm on a teacher's timetable. In the summer, there are no kids. The facility is operated for the students and the board, and they're on holiday. But there's another very practical reason. The woods is Mosquito City in the summertime, and if anybody ventured out, they'd find it pretty miserable to do activities in these woods because it's just infested with mosquitoes.
Let's see what else I got here.
Occasionally in the summer, the facility is used by groups, scouts, guides, church groups, summer camps. But that's not under my jurisdiction directly.
Right. Got another one here. Where is it? Oh yeah. Can you tell if there's plans about making this accessible for wheelchairs or blind?
Yes, as a matter of fact, there is. Somewhere right on the desk here, I've got a picture. This was drawn to my attention a while ago and got me interested. Actually, when students come that are bound to a wheelchair, unless it's the middle of winter when snow and cold causes a problem, I will take them into the woods along with the rest of the kids. I'll put 4 kids in the wheelchair, and it can be rolled considerable amount of the way, and if it can't be, they'll pick it up and carry it. And I make no distinction between a wheelchair-bound kid and anybody else. They come along and do the activities 90% of the time with us. However, in a plan that I made up this year for the next 3 years, one of the things that I have included is to put some sort of access ways, bridges essentially, across obstacles where a wheelchair would have to be carried or couldn't be rolled by the person using it, which would allow access to the main trail at least by somebody independently in a wheelchair. If they can get over, well, there's one stream and 2 or 3 wet spots. If they can get across these, they can usually wheel themselves along in 3 seasons of the year on the trail as it is. That's been included as part of the plan. As well as that, the purchase of one of these wheelchairs, which was shown a minute ago. It's an all-terrain chair which allows you to take a kid just about anywhere in a wheelchair, and there's one of them in my budget this year. So I can take a badly wheelchair-bound kid just about anywhere.
Just a minute. Now, as you lift that, I want you to say, hernia!
Mine was a hearse.
Don't